To whom much is given, much is required. And I am Sonya Rue, and this is 360 the show, where we talk about all things life, love, power, and health. And tonight, I'm so excited about my two guests, but this is the 6 o'clock segment, and I will be bringing on very shortly Dr. Vercher, Dr. Danette Vercher, a woman of extreme moral character. When I tell you, this woman is so endowed in spirit and truth, and so experienced when it comes to mental health. Tonight's segment is called Mentality Health, How Befitting, because I think we all assume that mental health is something that person over there is going through, not realizing that we all have a brain and we all wind up off balance. See, life is we walk in this two-ness, right? And because of the duality of who we are, we'll always have to strive for balance and harmony. That said, there are times when we will be off our square, off balance, off our center, off our block. And then we'll pay and others will pay if we allow it to go on for far too long. So I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I'm so excited about both segments. Again, this is the 6 o'clock segment, and the subject is mentality health. Please take this time to share this with your friends, to let them know that we're coming, and we're coming now. Alrighty? But before we get started, how about a little rhythm and truth? My background is music. I love music, particularly house music, and I love to dance. So my theme is rhythm and truth. No matter who comes on, they can't even get on my platform till they give me a little rhythm and truth. So we do the rhythm first and then the truth. Now see, I didn't even warn Dr. Vercher to let her know that she had to shimmy up a little something to be on the show tonight. But let's see how she responds to it when I bring her on. Buff, what's up, my brother? I'm so glad that you joined. It's so good to see you. Hello, Davis. How are you? Hello to everyone. If I missed you, charge it to how fast things are going and not to my heart, because I'm grateful for each and every one of you. I'll tell you that much. How do you guys like my poetic justice? Music stops. We're going to need some music in order to do this, right? Okay. I'm gonna bring her on. There we go. We got a beat. Let's get her now. I'm gonna get her. Here she goes. Come on, Dr. Vercher. Woo! Hey now. Let's go. She's connecting. Oh, you already heard. Let's go. This is the Rhythm and Truth show, honey. That's right. Get it. Don't stop.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm good.
It's always nice to show, to shake a little something.
Yes.
Did you know that I love to dance?
Yes.
I love me some music. And we're both singers, so you already know.
Yeah. I get my salsa and my cha-cha and everything.
I'm going to adjust my cam just a little bit because it's a little low for me. Let's see if I can do that without disturbing the whole thing. I'm so happy to see you.
You too.
No, wait. It's the wrong one. Hold on. Let me get this together.
All right.
I was on a different account, sitting up talking about tonight, talking about I'm waiting for her. Hold on. Let me call her. Lord have mercy. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's reality when it's live, right?
That's reality. That's a real thing right there.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. I think I put a little bit of color on because I am always in black. So
right, and I thought I would put on black because I'm always in color. You know?
Okay, COVID-19 got me. I can get my nails done, but it's all good.
Right.
Clean and do so many other things and not worry about something chipping. But yeah, I like that nail color.
Thank you. I did it myself. You know what I'm saying? I did it
Yes,
yesterday, and I'm taking care of myself, and I think I like it. In other words, I think I like the self-care more than being rushed,
correct.
mistreated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And spending money to get all of that.
Hello. I
Yep,
did.
self-love.
I bought some clear fingernail polish though.
There you go. That's all we need. Seriously, I just spruced it up just a touch. Listen, before we get started on the subject, I want to just talk to you about a few things that are taking place because I can't not tap into all of this wonder that God has placed in you. So, you know where I'm going with this, right?
I know. Talk to me.
George Floyd. George Floyd,
Yeah.
in contrast to Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper,
Hmm.
which is kind of where things start.
Yeah.
That leads to what happened to George Floyd.
Correct.
What do you have to say about that? What are your thoughts?
My my first thought is to pray uh, for our government and pray for the police, our law enforcement, to pray for people's minds
Right.
and what would make them think that in that moment that they are a star. So at that moment, I've captured someone. So therefore, I'm the big boss.
Right.
But to inflict the pain, to not hear someone say again,
Mm-hmm.
I can't breathe,
Right.
and them not be armed and you not be threatened
Mm-hmm.
and they be handcuffed and they are on the ground, what threat are they to you?
Right.
The crowd around you was more of a threat than the man on the ground. So again,
Absolutely.
the motives of law enforcement, you have to deal with the person because it's not the whole force. You
There you
have to
go.
deal with the mentality of the person that is inflicting the harm, that is taking their job beyond the call of duty and now make it personal because they have a moment, because they have a moment, because they have a moment.
Because
And
it,
if they have a moment, my thing is, I wonder if this man is sick. I wonder if this man has cancer, the officer. So either he knows his career is over, so he might as well go out with a bang. This is how some people think with this type
right.
of profile. Uh,
Right. Or maybe that they get away with it so often.
they get away with it often, but this is something that is done literally
Mm-hmm.
in the eyes of others and in witnesses. So you have to deal with the psychological imbalance of that particular officer at that time. What were his thoughts? What was the trigger for him to, nah, I don't know if he called him the N word. I don't know what he said to him. I don't know if he even thought about if he had a family. I don't know. Maybe he thought that this fame would make him rich and he would have a story in the place of history.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, people are sick.
he would be on National Geographic and CNN and get the accolades from the white supremacy. But I don't believe that when someone acts alone, if someone acts alone, but then when you incorporate the two others,
Oh gosh. That's
how
that's the crazy part.
how can you condone that behavior?
Right. Lack of
Yeah,
accountability.
because he's not important enough.
Right. Right.
So and act like and he's got his hands in his pockets. He acted like, yeah, look at me, look what I'm doing.
You know
So
why they put their hands in their pockets? I just learned this.
yeah.
Because it's more weight bearing. Ah,
it
that thing.
at some point it is weight bearing without putting your hands on them, but your weight is already shifted from the waist down
Mm-hmm.
because you're in a kneel position.
Yeah.
And so you can always, especially when looking at the forensic side of that,
Hello,
in,
Evelyn.
in the
Yes.
psychological aspect of that person, it is dealing with the individual and their morals and their lack of morals and their lack of ethics and their lack of accountability. But whatever it is he's accountable to, regardless of, we don't know if he's a part of KKK, we don't know what he's a part of, but
Right.
but whatever he's a part of, this was a notch on that post.
You know, the thing is, a lot of people go, oh, cops make me sick, whatever. When it comes to cops and civilians, you've got good and evil on both sides.
You always do. but in this particular instance, in the height of the emotion of where this man was, it's something that he's played out over and over, the what if. So I would love to sit in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to sit in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've already profiled him.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to sit in front of him and ask him those questions that would make him feel and think that without an equivocal doubt that he was right, that he was right, that he was right.
Right. Like George Zimmerman.
Like George Zimmerman.
Thought that he was right, and many agreed.
Yeah, and go
it's
through.
Sad. Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah.
They chased him down in a pickup truck.
Yeah.
And shot him down.
Yeah.
Like a wild animal.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're all in a place where we're really tired and exhausted with the way that things are going. And I just got to tell you, I'm concerned with what the outcome will bring. You see, because some people like to match fire with fire, not necessarily the answer, but I get.
Yes, likewise. I get it as well. But the bottom line is going to be, you're going to tear up your city.
Right.
You're not going to have places to shop. You're going to have police in the streets and or military in the streets.
More deaths.
You're not going to have more deaths. You're not thinking, you're not processing. So everybody's acting out of an emotional state. And when you start acting out of emotion, it takes over your morals, takes over your ethics, it takes over your social awareness. And all you have is tunnel vision, because we're sick of it, we tired of it, and enough is enough. So we're gonna do you. Can I get street for a minute?
Please take it there. Take it there. It is what it is. Absolutely.
It is what it is. We're gonna do you, and we're gonna get you before you get us. So the mentality kicks in, and then as a people, we play into the social standard and that stigma. We play into exactly what they want us to do. And so we end up destroying not just ourselves, but other people, the culture. We're already divided because of COVID. And now we're going to be even more, there's going to be even more of a diaspora because of this incident. And because of this incident, now our children are going to be even more segregated than ever before.
Right.
And you're going to have the hate crimes and those things that are going to be generated. But right now, everybody's at a loss. Nobody's winning right now. Nobody's winning right now. Nobody's winning right now. Nobody's winning right now. And we need clear-headed and concise direction as to how we're going to handle this, but not for any leader to incite any more riots, but to be able to come in and calm our people down.
Absolutely.
Bring them back to the moment of clarity.
Yes.
For what we stand on.
Yes.
And bring back their own integrity, bring back their own dignity, bring back their character into who it is they are, and not allow this enemy to cause any more deaths, because then it will cause black on black crime. It's already going to cause white on white crime. You see the movies, you see the videos where people are driving, they're telling them, get out of the way, you shouldn't even be here in the first place.
Right.
So, you're going to cause even the good law enforcement officers to be attacked, and their families to be attacked. And so Missouri needs to come down. They need to bring it down a notch. And the leaders who are speaking out, we understand we can't breathe. We understand that we're tired of it. We get that. But now let's deal with it.
Let's deal with it.
Let's deal with it.
Let me shift a little bit before we get into mentality health, which is a hot topic. Oh my. I just want to pull on your spiritual strength and the foundation of who you are. And I want to just ask you, let me put it out there. I feel like God has given us all a big, have a seat.
Yeah.
Have a seat. You know how you tell your kids, go over there and sit down before I tell you what?
Yes.
I said, go ahead. I
Yeah.
feel like we're all at that place where he's like, I'm trying not to lay hands on you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? How accurate does that sound to you?
It sounds very accurate. And I think that it is, it's a point well taken that in the escalation of enough is enough, that everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has an emotional breaking point.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter how spiritual we are. Doesn't matter how saved and sanctified and filled with the Holy Ghost.
Yes.
What matters is that we're human and we have a breaking point. And domestic violence is at an all-time high. Whether it be a man on a man, whether it be women on women, a man on a woman, whatever it is, children being beat and being abused. It is in that process that we have to think. We have to see what we're about to do. And when you readjust yourself, when you identify with who you are, you can literally see what it is you're getting ready to do, and you won't do it because you've already processed it.
Right.
There's no reason for you to physically do it because you already saw yourself choking them out. you already saw you.
Hey now, you don't want this now.
If you can see it, if it flashes to you, oh my God, it quickens you in your spirit, and it's like, I already did it. So you psych yourself out. That's how you create that level of continuity that is within your fiber, within your spirit. I already did it.
Mm-hmm.
I already did it.
Yeah.
I don't need to put hands on. I already did it. I'm in a whole nother realm. And it brings you down, brings your calm down.
Let me pause to say this. Guys, you are listening to Dr. Danette Vercher. She is a prolific evangelist, speaker, and get this, Christian psychologist. She specializes in marriage and family health, as well as helping you with intimate relations within your marriage. She's a sex therapist. She's so well-rounded. You know, a lot of Christians shy away from that. But the truth is, you're required to heal one another from everything you go through in life in the course of a day. And some people are intimately uptight. And so she can help in many different areas. Tonight's topic, mentality health. Mentality health is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we're going to go in. Please just give them a little bit about your background as I prepare to review some of these questions that I have for you, because I got many.
Let's see. I'm a mom. I'm a daughter. I am a minister of the gospel. I am a pastor. Goes higher than that. I'm an archbishop. Ministry. I was raised in ministry, really by a lot of men. I come from a entertainment background, and my grandmother was a celebrity chef, and so
that's why you got all of them nice dishes showing out. Filling out grandma's book. Go ahead.
Some of you don't know that I'm a documented American Indian.
Mm-hmm.
And
I see them cheekbones popping, girl.
And you know, God he's been good to me. Ministry, I've been to seminary, I've been in school. That doesn't make who I am, but what it does is it armed me with information. Amen. I didn't go to school to preach or to become a preacher. I went to school because I wanted more information, but inevitably,
right.
It just happens. And so I have a healing and deliverance ministry. Within the last two years, going to be 3 years, I am the grandmother to a wonderful little girl named London. I became a full-time parent all over again. So
Okay.
it kind of put the brakes on whatever everything I had, because now I got this baby and I have to raise this baby.
Yes.
I am a grandmother of 4.
Okay.
Three boys and 1 girl. So 2 babies that were just born in February, and and 2 3-year-olds. So I am excited about being at this stage of my life. I am single.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, you see me with 2 rings on. I've been
Okay. Two,
been,
like.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. And I've been single for about 11 years, not because it's not what I desire. God just has not seen whom it is that handle all this right here going on. It takes a lot to know. I do because she grown.
She grown. Oh my. You left something out. You're a recent partner of Total Life Changes.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I am a recent partner of Total Life Changes. I am aware of the product and know what the product does. Again, I am a 3-time cancer survivor, and what the residual was from cancer was fibromyalgia, which is, lupus runs in my family. So I get bouts of a little bit of here and there, but when the pain crisis comes, it is chronic pain. Mm-hmm. And in that chronic pain, the only thing that I take is Lyrica, but Lyrica really doesn't do a whole lot for me. Don't take any other I don't take narcotic pain medication or anything of that nature. And, but I do know for a fact that Total Life Changes, and working with the product and understanding the product, the stim sense, the harmony drops and alleviate. You have the alleviate, which is the topical, so it cures that pain. Like you would have arthritis pain, and
really works.
When you use the liniments and things of that nature,
yeah,
you use the alleviate just a little bit, and it takes the pain away. The harmony drop. It with the pain, it's hard to go to sleep. Mm-hmm. So the harmony drops really attribute to, again, the chronic pain, the aches, the joints, being able to sleep, making sure a restful sleep without waking up with the grogginess, being able to clean your home, being able to move about and go on the walks and play with my granddaughter, and also be able. You have no idea. Well, you know what it's like to have, you sit and you're in pain and you got to move about. Yes. But this is what takes that away. The stim sense helps with the muscles, and it helps with the joints. It helps with your ability and your mobility. Not that I'm old, I got arthritis. Fibromyalgia is a excruciating pain when you have pain crises. So you can get all the shots in the world and cocktails from the hospital, but you're going to give me some of this good old harmony drops in this.
Okay, hey now.
And go ahead and sip.
I recently ordered some. I haven't taken them yet, but I'm about to find out. Listen, but I've been hearing you talk about it, and so I'm like looking forward. Any day my box should be coming.
Yeah,
with the harmony. But I'm on that NutriBurst.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And I'm detoxing now with the ISOT.
Okay, I'm detoxing now too.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. I made me a batch last night and poured out the milk in the old gallon milk bottle, milk carton, and I got my jug. You got
your jug. You can ready chug on your jug. Okay, so we're going to jump into, first of all, talk to us about this mentality health, the mindset.
Yes. The mindset of wanting to be healed is understanding the nature of your illness. Mm-hmm. If you don't understand the nature of your illness, you'll always remain sick, and other people will allow you to stay sick. Okay. Because they won't want you better. Once you deal with the stigma of your mentality of how it is people think you should be, mm-hmm. and you're not seeking out or having performance addiction,
Mm.
you will then understand the mentality of who you are. Understanding mentality is understanding the depth of who you are. And so you are creating your own social rhythm. As you create your social rhythm, of course, things happen and it gets you off course. That means doing the same thing all the time. Now, being someone without medication, I don't take medication, haven't since 2009.
Wow.
Because a part of a study. And in that study, it is without medication, and the social rhythm is created. And that you do the same thing at the same time every day. But still, there was something that was not quite working because I still needed to understand the nature of who I wasn't, who I was trying to be, and not living up to the standards of what somebody else created me to be, but understanding the directness of the man in the mirror effect.
Okay.
Who am I? So my mentality is that I now love myself. I'm a woman. I love myself. I love my femininity. I love it. So I love it that I can look at myself and I can say I'm beautiful. I can say I'm gorgeous.
Right.
I love myself now.
Yes.
Your mentality is going to be generated off of what you see.
Right.
If you see someone else in the mirror, then you've got to peel the layers back like the onion.
Or if you have to try to become someone else in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have to try to become somebody else in the mirror, whether it's for work, whether it's for that spouse, whether it's for who you're dating, you need to go rethink what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, you are the only one that's suffering and cringing on the inside. That's not healthy because you begin to die on the inside.
Right.
It begins to show on the outside. We got to take the masks off. Let's take them off. Let's take them off. Let's be real about who we are as women, because I can't hate on you because I'm looking at my sister. I'm looking at who you are. I'm looking at the dynamics of who you become. And if I'm hating on you, then when I look in the mirror, I can't stand myself.
Would you say that hateration is a form of mental illness?
I would say that it is created.
It's created.
It's not what you're born with. It is created because as a child, you can't hate on somebody unless you're taught to.
Right.
If you always hear, no, we don't like them, they're not part of the family, but they're always in the house, but they're not part of the family.
Right.
So
the divide.
So when that child gets older, they remember the tape. Oh yeah, I remember them. They're not part of the family, but they're sitting at the dinner table. Well, so what? You ain't. This is what kids do. Well, my mama said. Well, my daddy said. Well, my auntie said.
Right.
So they play the tape, and so they grow up with this unhealthy mentality, and then an unrealistic view of who they are because they become products of their environment.
Okay. Sorry about the background noise. Go ahead.
You're fine.
Okay, so let's dig a little deeper. What should women do to prepare for love? We're thinking of mentality health and how they can prepare themselves for love. I know there's a scripture that says, "Don't awaken love until it pleases."
Right. Well, when we look if we take it in that direction and we look at the Song of Solomon, and we look at what was played out, we see one beautiful, beautiful scene, a beautiful love scene. And again, not all relationships play out to be awaiting for the love to come. Not all relationships, play out for that man who loves you oh so much. But he may love you enough that he'll kill you because he doesn't want anybody else to have you. We also have women that will hurt that man, will kill that man because we don't want anybody else to have you. But not understanding, we cannot understand love until you understand yourself. If you understand, now if you are a Christian, if you are a believer, you will love as Christ loved the church, but you have to be in the relationship with Jesus. Jesus has to reveal the Father. The Father has to reveal the Son and reveal that love to not just that man, your headship, but also to that woman, so you both can love that child. So this is what the household looks like. But even for a non-believer, And even for a child, a baby or an animal, they have the type of love that is unconditional. All they can do is give, because all you can do is do for them. They just need somebody to feed them, change their diaper, hold them, cuddle them when they're, when they start whimpering, when they start crying, rock them to sleep. But unfortunately, we have some adults that want you to do the same thing. And you cannot do that, because you've got to grow up out of that stage, unless you're really dealing with a child that is suffering from mental illness, and this is just what you have to do. But to prepare for to prepare for love, you've got to identify with yourself and love yourself, because if not, you're going to hurt everybody that comes to you, or you're going to try to be in a relationship, and that man or that woman is going to find out that you've got some malice, that there's some family issues there that have to be ironed out, and you'll either end up being the mama to the adult child, or being, you understand?
Wow, right. And then the relationship never
Yeah.
cures. It's just going to become toxic.
Yeah, and
because you're dealing with a childlike individual.
Yeah,
got you.
And he ends up being your daddy. Well,
Yeah.
You don't need that, but the harmony comes because you have a foundation. And as a Christian, that foundation, is the godly foundation, is having the godly man and the godly woman, and the principles and the morals and the ethics that we follow in the biblical context, because you never treat somebody ill-mannered if you have that type of agape love, which most of us cannot attain. We're still operating in the storage or the eros. We're still operating in ownership. We're still operating in what you do for me as a friend, but not if you slap me, am I still gonna love you?
Just piggybacking off of the last thing that you said about slapping, domestic violence is at an all-time high right now, because people are home together, and those who like to fight, what can they do but fight some more?
Come on here.
But fight some more, And so what do you say to the person who is dealing with a violent individual? Violence can be expressed through physical harm, through verbal harm, through mental abuse. Whatever it is abuse. So how do you speak to the person that's home every day being abused and being broken down and just feeling so crushed on the inside?
Yeah, it's hard right now for a lot of couples, because you're getting on each other's nerves. I believe that being a survivor of domestic violence, making the wrong decisions, and ending up in a domestic violence situation, dealing with the police, victim witness, got to go to classes as a victim, and victim classes and things of that nature. I identify with being at home and being broken down psychologically, emotionally, and ultimately physically. And so seeing myself with black eyes and busted lips and broken arm and multiple facial contusions and bruises all over my body, and busted lips and eyes just bloodshot, broken nose, and things of that nature. So I understand.
That's you?
Yeah. I can show you the police reports and the markups that have to take place when they go through with your full body, and they go through and they have to look at your body and put an X everywhere there's a mark. I was strangled. So every area of the strangulation, the handprints, as the day went on, you saw handprints around my throat. I couldn't talk for a long time. I had pressure areas that there would be a break because my windpipe was being crushed. So it just made me a better preacher for the gospel.
Okay, come on.
Come on.
Right.
It just brought the authority in my voice, so I took it all back. I'm not gonna let it hinder me. But there are people who are going through. If there is no way, nowhere else that you can go, there is somewhere in your house. I don't care if you have to go to the bathroom and close the door, lock the door, or just sit on the throne and just sit there to have your personal space. If you have to talk to yourself through self-talk, if you have to keep reiterating to yourself that I am loved, that
Better than
I
this.
am beautiful, you have to encourage yourself. You have to be able to pull from what's deep down inside. Even you have to see this thing in order to be healed. You have to see this thing to be delivered from it. And ultimately, especially if you're a believer, ultimately, God will show you a window and give you an avenue. If you're a non-believer, you still have an avenue. You still have words that say no more. But because we're in this situation of COVID-19, I just I just want somebody to be encouraged, that let them know that there's a way to talk to an abuser without shrinking yourself, where you take the authority back, because you don't have to hit back. Because they're going to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, because the reason why they hit you is because they don't like themselves. The reason why they hit you because they saw it growing up. The reason why they hit you is because you're not responding how they saw their mama or their daddy respond back to being abused. So you have to look at,
Wow.
you have to,
That's deep. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. I thank God that you survived that. You came through it. And it's like you went in the fiery furnace and you came out as pure gold.
yeah.
Because you just you don't limp like you've been there.
Oh,
So, definitely God has definitely lifted you from whatever that was. And it's important to know, with all your degrees and everything, that it doesn't matter if you're a police officer, an attorney, a judge, you
yeah.
can be abused. You can be a victim, because love puts you in a very vulnerable place.
Yes, it
Very
does.
vulnerable place.
Yes, it does. You know, love can cause you to accept what other people may see something that you don't see. And this is also often in relationships. And they're like, I don't know. They know you've made mistakes. They know you've made bad choices. Well, we don't know about this one. You got to check them out. Just don't jump right into it. I see what they're all about.
Right.
Have the right conversations
Mm-hmm.
in order to get the right response that will warn you, that you will see the red flags.
Right.
If you're already in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
then of course it's not that you skate by the conversations, because it's going to bring about an argument and some violence. But at some time you need a mediator to sit there, because you need to talk about these things. Because if not, you just need to separate ways, because you can't, there's no way, except for people who are sick,
Right.
that beat on women. And you have some men who are battered, and they are afraid to go and seek help because it's embarrassing. We have so many men that are battered,
Mm.
and they don't go seek any help, and they end up snapping. And when they snap, the bite is hard, and the woman screams, "Oh, you abused me." Well, what about all those times? It still doesn't make it right. But
Right.
you have some men who are sick, and they would love to make love to you and have makeup sex while you have got black eyes and busted lips and
Oh.
bruises. Kiss on them and just love you down and smack it up, flip it and rub it down, and it's all good, baby. You all right? And all the while you thinking back like Medea and gonna throw some grits on somebody. So it is, when you have those types of thoughts, and you are not seeking to be healed. You're not seeking to be delivered. You're not seeking to be set free of your own personal demons. It's easy to attach to love of what it seems like, because a picture was never painted for you. It was just
Yeah.
what somebody said, that this is love. You'll know it when you find it, because this is what it'll be like.
Yeah.
But not really deep in your heart. This is a heart thing. This
I,
is
I I've heard people say stuff like, "Oh, well, he likes it. He stays because he likes abuse. She stays because she must like it."
No, that's the wrong thing. The fear of leaving,
Yeah.
because the fear has been beaten into you that if you leave, that you'll
Mm-hmm.
be nothing, because I'm doing it all for you. That's a narcissist. And a
Right.
narcissist will beat you down psychologically, will will they'll mentor you. You understand?
What
A
What are the features of a narcissist? The narcissism.
Narcissism is control. Narcissism is your ideas become their ideas. A narcissist is very grandiose and can create scenarios. And then you play into the scenarios. And when the scenarios don't manifest, you'll see the spark of the anger. You'll see they'll scramble to get the control back and then stay on top of it, which will be anxietal. It will become very anxietal. And so they know everything. It is, no, well, like I come and tell you, so girl, I'm thinking about doing, I did that. I was just writing that down. Look, I was just writing that down. What? I was just praying about that. I just wrote that shit. What? Yeah, I just wrote it in my bag. Really?
They have to take everything.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Y'all hear me? Look, ain't nobody got time for that. But if you marry, you gotta work this thing out, because you done married this fool, and so now you got to work that out, because you knew it in the beginning. But the thing is, you don't want to deal with it in the premarital state, because you fear you might lose them.
Illness also, that's in the relationship. It's in the home. It's also in the workplace. How do you deal with someone you work with that you just think they're so evil and mean, whatever? Mental illness. You can find in supervisory roles, managerial roles, in the CEO, and the owner, the founder.
Just look
the
at
president of the United States. What do you do? Right? How do we deal with mentality illnesses? Mentality, the way that you're wired and you think.
Yeah, we are. You know what?
Just wrong.
Yeah, for you to say that, the being wired, we have been wired for sound. We have been wired for BS. We have been wired for chaos. We have been wired to say yes when we mean no. We have been wired to do the extra so we don't get fired. We've been wired to bring some goodies for everybody to eat, because we might earn brownie points. Right. But if people in the workplace suffer when we say go postal, they go postal. Everybody knows it. They hold a position, and they can throw tantrums, and nobody says anything. And they say, oh, that's just Billy. That's just Susie. Don't worry about it. They'll be okay in a minute. They'll just go in their office, or they storm out and they come back like it's nothing. There's something wrong, because if they come back one more time, one more again, they could come back and blow everybody away. So we have to recognize the warning signs of when somebody has anxiety, to where they can constantly be bopping around while they're talking to you. What is it that they fear? It's not that they're on drugs. It's not that they're afraid of you. They may be bipolar. They may be suffering from, and they may be racing at that time. And if they're racing, you've got to know the signs. So that's why we need to do more in-services in the workplace, because we have people that will fall in love with you and you don't even know it. And if you don't respond in the right way, I thought you liked me. What? No. Well, you always in my office because I always got something to ask you, because you're not responding to the emails. So I got to come in your face. You hear what I'm saying?
Wow. And they get it all wrong and all twisted.
They get it all wrong. Yeah. And if they get it all wrong, then because of their power, they tend to not give you specific assignments. They tend to not involve you in certain things, right? Because they have the power, which becomes psychologically unbearable.
Right.
But because you have a family and you got to put food on the table, most people stay and they deal with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of you look at the cases, and most recently, I'm not going to even name names, where people go through things on the job or in their careers that are bordering abusive, like it's harassment,
Yeah.
sexual even, you know, and
Mhm.
it's to me, it's the workplace should never really allow any of the pursuit of a relationship or anything like that, because the lines get crossed. And it's difficult. It's difficult to deal with a professional environment and remain professional when you're now dealing with emotions.
You know, it becomes, you have harassment in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Harassment in the workplace are unwanted phone calls. Harassment in the workplace are unwanted rubs on the shoulder.
Right,
Harassment in the workplace is, hey, I made dinner. You want to come by? That's harassment.
right, right. It's
That
out of place.
you want to work on the project? Well, yeah, we can work on it in the conference room. Well, I thought maybe, maybe we could go to dinner. You see the slight, maybe we could just go to dinner and have a working dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So that is not borderline, that is harassment, because the project is supposed to stay
Blatant.
at the office.
Right, very blatant.
And
Right,
and so it can come subtle, it can come, oh hey, I just thought, but the hey in the squeeze is,
right.
but you have some people who are needy, you have some people who are thirsty, and
Mm-hmm.
people who are needy and people who are thirsty will take that as they like me, but it ends up being date rape. It ends up being a situation that that you will encounter, because now not only is it emotional, you can't judge between whether it was the date rape or whether
Right,
you really had sex with them. You really wanted to, but you didn't want to. So you felt an obligation if a supervisor asked you out for dinner and you kind of, I'm not sure. Or, well, why don't you go? I run on the same place. I run on the same trail you run. Well, why don't we go running together? That's harassment, because now it
it's
is
uncomfortable. You don't want to necessarily say no, but you don't really want to go running with your
right,
colleague or manager.
right. Unless y'all really got it like that. You went to school
Mhm.
together, you know them, but not somebody who was just
Random.
random. But again, for anybody, it's not tolerable unless you have that type of relationship. But if you don't have that type of relationship with someone, it is uncomfortable for a man. It is uncomfortable for a woman.
Yeah, I
And
agree. I
yeah,
agree.
you have
I
to be
agree.
mindful of, and it's not that if I display myself or I'll dress up one day and I get attention from everybody, so now I like it, so now I'm keep getting attention.
Yeah.
But when it changes to where they're touching you and it is the hand on the shoulder, hey, how you doing?
Mhm. Yeah.
No, you
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
come.
yeah. I actually went through that in my 20s. I had a job, and I'll never forget that my the owner of the company just came behind me and started like massaging my shoulders, and I
Yeah,
kind of did a little. That's okay.
yeah,
I'm all right. Thank you. And he wound up literally chasing me around the desk, and he was a married man, and I just quit the job, you
yeah.
know,
I've gone, I've,
because that was the last straw. It wasn't the first one. It was the last straw.
I've gone, I've gone through that before too, and it's just like it takes everything in you to keep the respect for yourself
Right.
and
Right.
to not be drawn out of character.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does is it makes you think, well, what did I possibly do or say something that turned this person on? And
Right.
when you finish assessing every time you've seen them or assessing things,
Yeah.
you because you ultimately sometimes will blame yourself, especially
Mm-hmm.
if you've been a past victim of rape or molestation. You
Right.
tend to, did I do something that caused
Right.
them? No, you never do anything to cause somebody else to violate. You never do anything to cause somebody else to violate. You never do anything to cause somebody else to violate you. It's something that's wrong with them. And mental illness can come in so many different forms, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody's doing anything about it. So we have to speak to that giant so they get a clue early on and not keep letting it progress, but also get to the proper place and
Mm-hmm.
deal with the proper people who can come in the workplace and do in services, but also come and support you and your stand to not accept it anymore, but to get them some help.
And you're doing consultations, right? So if anyone's listening and they want to get in touch with you after concerning any level of abuse, harassment, or mental illness in the workplace, in their relationship, in their home, they can reach out to you and you'd be open to, consulting with them.
Sure.
Beautiful. And
Sure.
your Instagram page is I am Danette Vercher.
I am
Go
Dr.
ahead. I'm
Dr.
sorry. I am Dr.
Yeah.
Danette Vercher. DIAMDRDANETTEVERCHER. Right. And so, that makes it hard. Next, I want to go to the religious preoccupation syndrome. That's mental illness and faith. Because you're saved, because you have faith, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're completely whole.
Yeah.
If just as well as I have sarcoidosis, I'm saved, I have faith. I have muscular and joint pain.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, it doesn't change my faith or my position or my wisdom or my intellect. Doesn't make me stupid. So illness comes in many ways. It comes mental, it becomes physical, it's emotional. Some people are emotionally immature. They're sound in every other area, but emotional brats.
Yes. That is, oh my God, especially, in ministry, as we have people, we have so many people who are struggling with mental illness, and in the community of individuals that are in the faith, they feel that people will look down on them because of how the culture is. Oh no, we bind that in Jesus' name. Okay, but they just went and blew your car up. It's a good. They just walked into the church with firearms. They just beat up the pastor in the pulpit. They just come in cussing and it's all good. They're still strung out on drugs. Okay, because we've got a problem here. We've got addiction, and we've got a psychological issue.
Even in leadership, come on.
We have issues of leaders who are still committing lewd and lascivious acts, and ain't nobody doing nothing because they got the money. We still have people who are struggling and striving to still even find out who God is. They just sitting in church and it's just going in one ear and out the other because they're watching the leader. And so, well, if my leader gets away with it, I can too. But also my leader is sick and we know it and nobody's doing anything. We like Zachary Timms, the mental illness and the substance abuse. That was my friend. And so I know what he struggled with. I know what the imbalances were. But you have the powers to be, well, we'll just send them and let them work, put them back on. The worst thing was to give them more to do, because that's all you can give an addict is something more to do. Someone with mental illness, all you can do is keep pushing more pills on them because all they're doing is cheeking it and spitting it out or throwing it up because they don't like the way it makes them feel. So they keep acting up. So in the church, we have many people that are struggling, that are visibly with mental illness, that are suffering. We know that we are downcast, but we know that God will lift up our countenance. We know that. But how do you get them to understand? Because they're afraid of the stigma that's been put on people with mental illness. Everybody walking around may have mental illness, but it's in how they identify with the illness as opposed to how they'll receive the treatment.
Right. Some people, most people in ministry don't identify, I shouldn't say most, with mental illness. Some call it a spirit, a demon. And there's a thin line between it's a demon and it's mental illness.
Yeah.
Here we are in mental health month, mental health awareness, and I just want to go down that road. Because I do believe there are two separate things. Thank you.
They are, but you have to understand the nature of the clinical illness before, we have people who are self-diagnosed, and we have people who are real clinically diagnosed. Okay. Those who are self-diagnosed tend to act out more than those who are clinically diagnosed. But also those who are clinically diagnosed tend to think that nobody can do anything to them because they have this legal imbalance And so all they'll do is just go and take them to the mental illness ward, and they'll pump them full of pills and let them sleep on it and rest on it. And they'll come with some flowery words to deal with it. And then they'll come out 30 days later and they'll be all right, but they keep doing the same thing. That's clinical illness. When we have people who are...
So it's not spiritual at all.
Not spiritual at all. This is
right.
a real chemical imbalance. You can see it in the brain.
Right.
So you have some people who have grown up in certain areas, and they've had to adapt to their environment. And in adapting their environment, certain things were accepted, but not little Johnny who, you know, they've been taking lithium since they was 4 years old and keeps knocking their head up against the wall and come to church and loves the Lord because, again, the Holy Spirit has moved upon them and their spirit has received it. And so now they're able to have some act right a little bit. But again, you have some leaders that do struggle with the stress. They struggle. The mental illness is so broad because you've got anxiety, you've got schizophrenia, you've got all those different things. So we say that those are spirits. Okay, if those are spirits and you a healer, why don't you cast them out? And then they turn around and come back and blow your brains out.
Right.
Because you don't
it's unfair how they're treated too, because if you come to the church with mental illness, they will just work on you with come out in the name of Jesus, but you don't say cancer come out in the name of Jesus like that. You know what I mean? You don't treat it as a spirit.
You have to look at the competency. You cannot, if you are, now, for instance, a clinical psychologist cannot come in the field of a Christian psychologist because even though they may be a Christian, but their specialty is in the clinical area, not in the spiritual, which is where scripture and you understand the forces of healing and deliverance. You understand the recovery. You understand what will take place. Now, just because you're a Christian and you're a clinical psychologist doesn't make you a specialist. I'm a specialist in Christian psychology, but I belong to a society of Christian psychologists. And so we know both sides, but when it is out of the scope in the realm of our practice.
Meaning some people need some chemicals.
Yeah, some people do need help. And when it's out of the realm of our scope, we have to decide on whether it's clinical or whether it's spiritual. A clinical psychologist now makes the distinction between whether it's clinical or whether, oh, this is spiritual. They go to church and they're dealing with these issues. I can't help them with these issues, but I know someone who can. So we bring the balance and we do the referrals with each other so we can help them. They can't open up their Bible and help them and lead them and guide them in that portion that's missing from their recovery, from their healing and deliverance. But we can. And so, but again, we have to know where the boundaries are. And if you can identify with those boundaries, we know that we know that God can heal anything. But again, if someone is chemically imbalanced, that is real, because their understanding will be like a child.
Right. Exactly. Right.
And they need the extra help to bring it down a notch, so it stops the behavior.
Yeah, I mean, if God has given man the wisdom to create medication that can calm a headache and that can resolve bacteria or virus or infection, why wouldn't he give the wisdom to calm the angst of the mind? You know?
There's so many different homeopathic ways as well. There's things that